Hello all of you awesome people out there, and welcome back to another super awesome mega wicked cool video done by myself, Disowned here. And today I'm going to be bringing you lot a brand new video from a brand new series I'm going to be doing called a complete Newbro walkthrough. And essentially what I'm going to be doing is taking all the aspects of EVE Online today, its exploration, and put them in a kind of follow me guide tutorial walkthrough kind of video. So anyone who's been playing EVE Online for even just 5 minutes will be able to follow along and start doing something cool. Now I'm going to start all these videos sitting in my pod in Jita, but you can go to any of the trade hubs which I'll flash up now if you want to play along. If you don't know how to find those trade hubs, by the way, simply open up your map, which is this symbol on the left on your Neocom, or if it's not there, go to the Neocom menu by clicking the top left button, go to activities and then map. From there, click the little search button here, type in where you want to go. For example, Jita, it's already there, but we'll simply type it in, and go to the station you want, which is this one. Right click and set destination. From there, simply start jumping gates and stuff to get to it. I'll cover how to travel around in a little while. So, exploration then. Luckily, it's fairly simple to do and you don't need too much ISK in order to get everything set up. All we need is a ship. We need a probe launcher scanner thingy. Yeah, we'll cover that in a minute. And a data and relic analyzer. So we'll start off with the ships then. Now there's many ships you can choose from, but essentially for brand new players there is 4. Each race has its own, and to be honest they are pretty similar, slight fitting variations, but they all do exactly the same. So start at the beginning then. We have Amar, they have their magnates. It's the one I prefer. I fly a lot of Amar ships because they look awesome and lasers are pretty. We have Caldari, which have their Heron, this one here. We've got Galente with their Imicus, that's the one, Imicus. And we have Minmatar with the Probe, that one there. I'm going to be going for the Amar Magnate, so we'll simply go ahead and buy one of them. On the left here, you should have a button for your regional market. If it's not there, go to your Neocom menu again, down to Finance, and click Regional Market. And simply type in what you want. So I want a Magnate. You can search through all these here. For example, we could go to ships, frigates, standard. Obviously, I've been here before. Amar and Magnate, there it is there. But searching, if you know what you want, is a lot easier. So not too expensive this one. You want to make sure you have them listed by price. So you want the cheapest price at the top, highest price at the bottom, and you simply want to go for the cheapest one that's in your station or nearby. If there's not one in station, you want one nearby. This one, for example, that's 10 jumps away, means I will have to actually jump 10 jumps to go and get it, to come back to get everything else. So make sure it's in station and it's a fairly nice price. So we simply right click and buy this. It'll just show us how much we're paying and how many do we want. So we only actually want one, so make sure that says 1, and then click buy. They'll take the money from us, and if we open up our inventory by clicking this button here, you'll see we now have a nice new shiny Magnate sitting in our ship hangar. So make sure you've clicked that if it's not already there by default. Simply double click the Magnate once to unpackage it. Essentially it's coming like a box, so we double click it to open it, and then double click again to get into the ship. The next thing we are going to need is a probe scanner. So we simply want to type in probe. We can simply search probe and it'll bring up all the nice stuff we need, anything with the word probe in it. And here we go, it's a probe launcher we want, sorry, not probe scanner, it's a probe launcher. So this one will do us fine, just the probe launcher one. We simply click on that, and same again, make sure they're all listed cheapest to highest, right click and buy this. And now if we go to our item hangar this time, not the ship hangar, go to the item hangar, we will see that the probe launcher is sitting there ready to use. If we right click it, we can fit to active ship, and there it is now on our ship. We also need a data and relic analyzer. We'll start as a data one. There it is. Right click again, buy this, and fit it to the ship. We now want a relic analyzer. Excuse me. Relic analyzer. There it is. Here we go. See, so the cheapest one is 11 jumps away, so we want to avoid that one and go for this one here in station. So buy this, and there it is, fit to active ship. So that's all the modules on our ship that we need. We do, however, need a little bit of ammunition. That probe launcher uses obviously probes. So if we type in probes there, I might actually just type in probe. Yeah, no S on that one. Excuse me. Have a quick drink. Yeah, so if we type in probe, we can go to ammunition and charges. And here we have lots of different probes. Now the ones we're interested in, the ones we need, are the core scanner probes. So if we click on that, we want to buy the cheapest again, but you want to buy 8 of them. Now ideally 16 is a good number to have in case you lose a set, and it also means your probe launcher would auto reload once we fire the probes off, which again we'll cover later on. But to begin with, you only actually need 8, so we'll simply click buy on that, and we want to drag these probes from our item hanger and simply drag them to the ship. See how I'm doing that? Just drag over the ship and then release. So click, drag, release. And if we click that now, we can see we have some core scanner probes in our ship hanger. So we can double check the ship fit now by clicking the fitting button here. If it's not actually here on your Neocom start bar, you can go to the Neocom menu, go down to ship and click fitting, and there is our ship. Now we can fit several different things on here. We could have all sorts of nice modules. We could put an afterburner in there if we wanted it. We could have weapons up here if we needed, rigs and all that kind of good stuff. But to begin with, this is the bare minimum you need. So, like with most things in EVE Online, your skills are going to determine what you can and can't use. Now, for the fit we have here and for this ship, I'm pretty sure all new accounts have the skills needed. But just in case they don't, these are the skills you'll need. And in order to train them, you simply go to your character sheet, which is the top left little picture here. Click that. Go to skills. Find the skill you need. Let's say, for example, we need a more encryption methods. Click it. Drag it down to your training queue and release. And as you can see there, a more encryption methods 2 has just been added to the top of my training queue, and it's going to take about an hour and 50 minutes to train. I actually don't need that, so I'm just gonna knock that off. It shouldn't take too long to get all those skills since they are pretty basic, so maybe an hour max to get them if you don't have them already. Right, so we have the ship, we have the skills. All we need to do now is go and start doing some explorationary things. Now, I would avoid going to 0.4 systems and below, because that's nullsec and lowsec. Get me words out, nullsec and lowsec, and people can freely shoot at you there, and these things are juicy targets. They're easy to destroy, and they're quite often chock full of juicy loot, so avoid lowsec and nullsec systems if you can. We're going to be sticking to 0.5 systems and above in this video because that's high sec, and we should be pretty safe. Another thing we need to pay attention to when we're picking a system for this is try and pick a quiet kind of area. There's a lot of competition for these sites, the data and relic sites in high sec, so going somewhere where there's say 50 people in system, you might find it difficult to actually find anything to do because all the sites would have been completed. So to find a site, then all we need to do is open up our map again, and we can simply use some of the kind of filters to find a good spot. The X, by the way, is where we are, so if you zoom all the way out, you can see we are kind of towards the top center of the map. All we need to do is go to the little cog here, hover over the cog, and scroll down to these my recents. But if we scroll down to like this little bottom half of the selection bar, we can find average pilots in space in the last 30 minutes. Have that checked, and you'll see all these little orange kind of, not rings, but like little clouds kind of appear around all the systems. Now what we need to do is just simply hover over these and find a system that only has, you know, a couple of people in. For example, this system here only has 1 pilot in system. It's 5 jumps away, and we can see it's a 0.8 system, so nice and safe in high sec. If we right click that, we can set destination. A nice little line kind of appears showing us how we're going to get there. And that's it, we're pretty much ready to go. You can see here as well, route is now showing that we are going somewhere. So we can close that and we can head out on our way. So to leave this station, all we need to do is click the top right button here where it says undock, and just wait about 3 or 4 seconds to actually leave the station. There we go. Right, so jumping around and navigating in EVE Online can be a little bit daunting, especially when you're in a trade hub and there's lots going on, lots of noises, lots of ships flying around. But since we've set up a route, it's pretty easy to get there. All we need to do is scroll down past all of this kind of junk stuff at the top, all the ships and stuff, till we see a yellow icon. Now these little circles with arrows in them, they are stargates. They will lead to new systems, and this one's yellow because that's the way we need to go. So all we need to do is click on it. All we need to do is click on it and then click the jump button at the top right here. We click jump and that's it. We don't need to touch anything else. We simply let the ship turn itself around, wait for the warp bar to fill up, and away we go. As soon as this ship reaches the gate, it will come out of warp and it will jump through, and you'll be cloaked for 30 seconds, I think it is, where all we need to do is the same. Again, we need to find the next yellow icon and jump through it. And here we are, there we go, in the system. We're going to start doing exploration. Now, I've probably cut most of that out because it was just simply jumping from gate to gate, not too important. But we're finally in system, and as you can see, we are invisible, we are cloaked thanks to jumping through the gate. You can tell how long you've got left on your cloak, by the way, by hovering over this little kind of icon up here. You can see we've got 38 to 37 seconds left of being invisible. Now, it's not too handy being invisible because we kind of can't do anything. We can't load things, we can't scan things. So to end that early, we can simply double click anywhere in space and our ship will start moving. And as you can see, that cloak is gone. Double clicking, by the way, is how you manually pilot your ship. So for example, if I double click straight up here, my ship should do a nice little 90-degree bend straight up. There you go. Yeah, so we need to stop our ship. Actually, there's no point in flying around, we might as well stop. So we can do that by clicking the stop ship button here, or by pushing Control and space, and that'll stop our ship where it is. Right, so back to exploration. The first thing we need to do is load up our probe launcher because we've not done that yet. Now we can simply right click that and hit reload core scanner probe once. If this option isn't here, then unfortunately you've left your probes back in the station and you're going to have to go and get them. Now, another way we can do this is we can open up the inventory by clicking this window here, making sure this ship we're in is selected, and then dragging what we want to load into the module we want to load it into. So there it is loading. It's going to take about 10 seconds. Excuse me. Right, so next we need the probe scanner window open, and that is found down here. If we hover over the buttons, you can see what they are. This one's for the scanners. This one's your holding bays, and so there's lots of nice things down here, but it's this one that we are interested in. So you want to left click and hold, go to the left and release probe scanner, and that'll open the window. So left click, hold, left, release. There it is. Now your probe scanner probably looks something like this. Now we do have filters to get rid of some things. This system's fairly empty. Some systems, especially if you're going into wormhole space, could have 20, 30 plus signatures here. You want to make sure they're listed by ID. Either way is fine if you want top to bottom or bottom to top. Not really a good idea to have them listed by signal, by group, or by distance, because what will happen is as you're scanning things down, the list will change, it'll jump up and down, and it'll be hard to find exactly what you're doing. So ID means everything in this list will stay in the same order. We have a filter on the right hand side here. Simply hover over this to open the window up, or this little drop down thing up, and we basically want to have the cosmic signatures checked. You can have as many of these checked as you want, really. There's not really much in this system, but it's not really necessary for what we're doing. We simply need the cosmic signatures because that is how we're going to find the data and relic sites. Right, so the next thing we need open then is the map. Now we're not this map here, we don't need the entire EVE map open, we simply need the solar system map open, and we do that by clicking this little square button here. Sorry, I need to take a drink. There we go. Excuse me. Alright, so yeah, it should look something like this. Now you do have lots of little icons and markers which you can turn on and off by clicking things here. Let's say if you want the refinery shown, we'll simply click this. Not in this system. Not in this. This system's pretty damn empty, really, isn't it? But yeah, we can click things here to show things or remove things from this little map. So these cosmic signatures here in this list then are displayed by the little X's on this map here. So what we need to do now is we need to launch our probes to start scanning them down. What we need to do is hit the little launch pinpoint formation. Since these already have like little X's, so we know they're in system, we know they're roughly here. We don't need to do launch spread formation where we scan the entire system. Simply need to do pinpoint so we can narrow down these signatures. As you can see, we've launched our probes. We can see them on the overview here, and we've now got a new little kind of box with arrows and lots of circles on our map. Right, so we can click and drag on the map, by the way, to spin it and rotate it. We can use these buttons on the left to view from the top and to view from the side. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do view from top. We're going to pick which signature we want to scan down first. It simply just starts at the top. We double click that and that will center the map. Yeah, so if we right click, by the way, we can drag around. Yeah, right click means we can like move the map. Left click means we can like rotate it around. So yeah, we want to double click what we want to scan down. It will center the map on that anomaly. We want to move the box from the top view over the X. We then want to go to the side view. And you want to just click the arrow. You don't want to click the box, just click the arrow and drag it up. So once again, everything is centered. From there, we need to make sure that these blue circles or spheres, which represent each of our probes, fills this entire red orb. Because essentially what it's saying is this is your cosmic signature. It could be anywhere within this red sphere. So we want to make sure we scan the entirety of that sphere. Now the easiest way to do that is to actually drag this little radio button down here. So click up one, goes bigger, bigger and bigger. Dragging it the other way, goes smaller and smaller and smaller. So we want it at about 8. That's covering this entire sphere. Now you can set shortcuts actually for making it bigger and smaller. I tend to use plus and minus, which is why it took me a second then to remember how to do it the other way. If you do want to set a shortcut for making this bigger and smaller, it's a lot easier. You simply go to your settings. There it is. So the Neocom menu, settings. You want to go to shortcuts. And it is one of these. I forget, it's been a while. Give me a second. Okay, so I found it. It's within combat for some reason. So what you want to look for is increase probe scan range, and you can right click that to edit. You want decrease probe scan range, right click that to edit as well. And another good one to have is refresh probe scan. So right click that as well. Mine's currently set to plus and minus for bigger and smaller, and 0 to actually scan. So we'll simply close that. So that's how you do that. So it's quite simple. Once you get used to this, you'll simply drag things around, smaller, scan. So it's a lot quicker than manually doing it with this slider bar and this button here. So yeah, once we've filled up this sphere and we're quite happy with it, we simply start scanning by clicking this button here, unless you've changed your shortcuts, in which case click your shortcut button. And that's it. You see our little scanners, our little probes now have disappeared from our overview. That's because they flew off to here and they are now scanning. Right, so we've just scanned it once. You can see it's got up to 15%. We've got a little bar underneath here which is red at the moment. We need that full before we can go to it. And we can also see that it's moved. It's changed from being a sphere to now being a dot. So we want to double click it again. We want to go back to our top view. Drag it over so it's centered. Side view again, the arrow. Ooh. And the arrow down till it's centered. And we want to make it smaller. We need to get smaller and smaller and smaller until we pinpoint where this is. So I'm just going to hit minus on my keyboard and 0 to start scanning. Zoom in by the way with the mouse wheel, so we can zoom in and out. If something's a massive sphere, we can zoom all the way out. Or if it's tiny small, we can zoom all the way in. There you go, and we've scanned it down again, and we can see that this one now is showing, once it gets to about halfway, this is on 40%, it'll tell us what it is. Now that's a combat site, it's not a data or relic site, so it's not important to us. So what we can do now is we can right click that, and we can ignore it. It's not important to us, we don't need it, ignore. So what we'll do now is we'll go back to top view, we'll double click this one, and we will center ourselves on it again. Now what this has done is it's essentially what I call split. It's split itself, so it could be here or it could be here. Now we weren't focused on this one when we asked one of our probes must have accidentally picked it up a little bit, which is why it split it. But what you would do normally is you would go for the one which was furthest away from where you scanned, which I think is this one down here. So we'll double click that so we're centered on that one. We'll go top view and we will center ourselves on it again. So what I mean by furthest away is, if say this was a big sphere and our probes are filling the sphere and we've scanned and it's split, even though we've filled the sphere it's still split like this, then I would go for this one. Excuse me, I would go for this one because it's further away from where we scanned. It's generally a good rule to follow. Go for the one furthest away. So hit 0 to start scanning that one. So itchy back. There you go, and it's come back down now to the same as the other one, so we can double click to center again. Drag the box over to the middle, side view, use the arrow to center again, and then 0 to start scanning. Now I should have actually made that smaller, but I just got distracted by the door opening. Okay, so that one is a wormhole once again. Not important to us. So give me a second, guys, and I'll actually find a cosmic signature which we can use. Okay, so I've got one system over, done a little bit of scanning, and I have found this data site. So I've got it up, I've scanned it twice to obviously get it to move around a bit, and I finally pinpointed it down to being a data site. So what I need to do now is just carry on what I was doing before. I just need to center it. Side view, center again, and get it all the way to 100%. Even if it's at 99.99%, you can't warp to it unless it's at 100. So keep that in mind. It can be a bit fiddly sometimes. You will run into sites every now and then which you can't scan down. You will literally get the probe size to the minimum of like 0.25 or 0.5, I think it is, and it still won't be at 100%. That's surely down to it just being a difficult one to scan. Maybe you need more skills, maybe you need better equipment. You know, it's just pick of the draw sometimes. I mean, generally all of them are dead easy to scan down, but you will from time to time run into one you can't quite get. So there we go, we've completely scanned it down. It's a local Garista virus test site. Not too important for high security space kind of sites to know the name. If this was like low or null, you could Google it to see what exactly was inside. But for us, we're going to run it regardless because they are all safe. You will from time to time run into one or two more complicated sites which do have dangers, which you can lose your ship in. The thing to look out for, and I'll point it out when we warp to this one, is the little message that pops up will have the word dangerous inside it. If it says dangerous, think twice before you go in, or maybe have a quick Google before you go any further. Right, so that's this one scanned down. We're quite happy with it. We know what we're doing. We need to warp to it. Job done. First thing to do before you always close your probe scanner window is to hit this button up here. Recover active probes. If you don't hit that button, then you'll simply go to the next system, you'll go to scan, and you won't have any probes with you. You have to remember to click that. All the probes disappear, and they reappear back in our cargo hold. It's also good to keep this thing reloaded as well, so we'll simply right click that and reload core scanner probe 1. So there we go, we've found one, we've scanned it all the way down, and we've reloaded and everything ready for the next one once this is done. So all we need to do now is simply right click that and warp to within 0 AU. So this is the little message that pops up. Now they'll all give you a little bit of information about the faction, maybe who this site belongs to, but unless it has the words dangerous in here, and it's typically like the first line of the first sentence will say this is a dangerous site or there is dangers in here. So other than that, you are pretty safe. And here it is. Now all the sites look a little bit different. You usually find structures in here. There they are. You usually find structures in here that look like this. In fact, they pretty much all look like this, to be honest. They might be named different things. This is an info shard. You might get a mainframe, but it'll still look pretty similar to these like swirling disky things here. And they're the things we are going to be hacking. Now these should appear on your overview by default, but if they don't, say these weren't here, I can simply remove them. All we need to do is simply spin around so we can be like, oh, where are they, where are they? There they are there. We can simply hover over them, right click, and then add to overview. There's lots of overview settings in here, which is probably a little bit easier to do. Simply open up the overview settings, go to, oh, I don't know, it's one of these structures, orbitals. I don't know, they're in here somewhere. This is why I usually tell people to simply right click things in space and add them to overview, but you could go through the entire list of things in here and find them in here. What are they called? Info shards. No. Yeah, but you could find them in that list and then check the box to add them to your overview. But right clicking them in space and add to overview is the easiest way. So the first thing we need to do is we actually need to get close to these, because these things down here, our data and relic analyzers, have a max range on them. Now for the Tech 1 ones, it's only 5,000 meters. So we need to be within 5,000 meters. So simply move towards it. It's a good idea, by the way. I mean, this is a very basic fit, but if you do put a micro warp on here or an afterburner, it makes it easier when you're traveling between these like nodes, shall we call them, between these containers we're going to be hacking. I'm sorry, but I can feel my voice going. Alright, so once we get within 5,000 meters, we can stop our ship. Nearly there. Don't worry about these things spinning, by the way. Your ship will not take damage if it does manage to actually get hit by one of these. All that will happen is your ship will just kind of bounce off them. You do not take any damage for ramming into things in EVE Online. It can be a pain sometimes when you're trying to get somewhere and you're bouncing off structures, but you won't actually damage your ship, so don't worry too much. Right, so all we need to do next is lock one of these up. So we're going to go for the one that's obviously closest to us within range. And we can hit Control and left click to lock it up. Or we can have it highlighted and click this button up here, lock. Give it a second or two, and there it is up here. It now appears as, well, one of these things. I don't know what these are called. It just appears as a locked target kind of thing up here. So once we've got it locked, we need to use our analyzer on it. Now, depending on which site you found, if it's a data site or a relic site, will depend on which analyzer you use. So if you do accidentally use the wrong one, like this one, it'll just simply say it's not a valid target, so you know, okay, I need to be using this one. So simply click that, and we get a little mini game like this. Now, this is meant to simulate hacking into this structure. I know it's very hard for games to simulate hacking because it involves lots of code and programming and typing. But essentially what we have here is like a little mini game of Minesweeper. It reminds me of Minesweeper. So we start off here, and we have basically to go along these nodes. And every time we click a node, like you see in there, a little number will appear and it will unlock the next one. What that number means, if I just click this one, is a number 5. It means we are 5 steps away from something good. It could be the central core, which is what we're looking for to actually hack this thing, or it could be like a perk we can find along the way. And there is a couple of perks you can find. I'll put them on the screen now because I'm not necessarily going to find them all in this one little mini game, so I'll put them on the screen now for you. And if you find them, they just kind of help you along the way. So we are now 4 jumps away from something good, 3 jumps away, 2 jumps away, 1 jump away, and there we go. We have found a perk. This one here is a utility subsystem. It will actually repair our kind of computer strength, which I haven't covered yet. I should have probably. Down here we have 2 bars. We have one on the left, which is virus coherence, and we have one on the right, which is, I'm going to tell us, yeah, virus strength. Essentially, the one on the left is your health, and the one on the right is how much damage you do. They're also done with these numbers up here. So that's the virus coherence, and that's the virus strength. So probably easy to explain actually once I find something that's going to hinder our progress. So we'll just keep clicking around. So we've got 2 and a 1. Got another perk there. Got a 1. We've got a hidden thing, which could be good, could be bad. Let's click it. It's actually something good. I'm not going to find anything bad here, am I? 1. You can only hold 3 items, by the way. Ah, there we go. So this is like the antivirus. Basically, it's the defense system. This one is a firewall, and essentially these also have health and strength as well. So what you need to do is you need to click these, which will do for us a damage of 25. We'll damage this 25. It only has 40 health, so we'll have to click it twice. But every time we do click it, it's going to hurt us by 20. We have a health of 70. Hopefully I've explained that right. You kind of, once you've done it a while, it just makes sense in your head, and trying to explain it to someone can be a little bit touch or go. But basically it's a numbers game. So we have 70 health, this has 40 health, we have 25 strength, they have 20 strength. So if we click it, you should see, there you go, we've took him down by 25%, but we lost 20 health. So I hope that makes sense. Click it again. We've done the last 25%. He doesn't get a chance to hurt us because we killed him. Job done. And we can simply use one of these to get our health back up again. So we simply keep clicking around here. One, until we find the system core. And the system core works exactly the same as like the defense system. As you find, it's got a health reading at the top, and it's got a strength like damage reading at the bottom. So when we click that again, you should see our health go down by 10. There you go, but we also damaged him by 25. So click it again, and we have successfully hacked the container. You can see the little icons kind of changed on the left. So it's already been hacked as opposed to this one, which is neutral. So now what we need to do is hit the open cargo button. So make sure it's selected on the overview. Hit the open cargo button. Our ship will move a little bit closer to it because we're a little bit too far away to actually look inside. And there is the goodies. We just made 766k. Hit the loot all button, and that's put it into our cargo hold. Alright, so we'll go to the next one. There you go, this will probably demonstrate the bouncing off structures. See, we don't take damage for hitting it, we just kind of bounce around it. There we are. We go to the next one. They have a cool little animation as well. Obviously when they're not hacked, you can see all the little discs and stuff spinning. And when you have hacked them, they kind of just stop, make a ring. Right, so we'll go to this one, and I'll see if I can explain the little mini game a little bit better. So we'll lock it up again. We'll stop our ship, we don't want to be bouncing around off it. And then we will simply hit we can unlock that one now because we don't need it. If we right click, we can unlock target. There we go. So make sure we've only got the one we want actually up there. So we'll use the data analyzer again on him. This time we started in the top left corner. We'll click. Straight away we found a spanner, it's always good. You'll see that we don't always start at 100% health. In fact, you never start at 100% health. So if you do find one of these, it's always worth using it right off the bat to get yourself up to 100. Right, so we are 3 steps away from something good. 2 steps, 1 step, 1 step again. So it's either there or there. There it is. With a spanner. 3 steps, 2 steps, and we've run into a roadblock. As you can see, the roadblocks, or I call them roadblocks, what are they? The defense subsystems. The defense subsystems do not appear as numbers, so that says 4. But, it won't tell you how many steps away you are from a defense system. Like that one there said 4, but there was something right here. So like I did there, you don't actually have to always go through these. If you hit a roadblock, what you can do is just simply try and go around another route. Can we go around this side? No, we can't. So we're going to have to take one of these on. So again, we'll click it. It's going to damage us by 20, but it's okay. So we've got 97 health. And we're going to hurt it by 25, and it's got a total of 40 health. So one click hurts us, hurts him. Another click takes it out. So we've got one more step to something good. One more step. And there it is. Just saying again. Hi Leo, can you give me a minute? Right. So there is the core. Sorry, my son's just got up out of bed. So we'll click that once. Hurt us and hurt him. Click it again. And we have successfully hacked the container. Open the cargo. Always remember to open the cargo. And you want to hit all. And now that is in our cargo. And from that site we made 1.2 million. The loot is not too good in high sec, but it's completely safe. As long as you don't run into one of those sites that says dangerous on it. It's always the way, isn't it? They come around when you're busy. Yeah, so the sites are always safe. You're never going to run into you're never going to warp in to find there's NPCs here. There is 1 or 2 sites you need to look out for, but they will usually say dangerous. In fact, I'm pretty sure they always say dangerous in the little description when you warp to them. So yeah, lower loot, but a lot lower risk. So that's it really. All we need to do now is dock up somewhere, so we can either go back to the map to find a station we want to go put something in, or we can simply dock up in this station here. By the way, this is a data site, so obviously we use the data analyzer, but the relic sites are exactly the same buildings. Off the top of my head, look identical. If not, they'll still be little like squares with dots in. You still do the mini game exactly the same. The subsystems all behave and act exactly the same. The loot you get from them is slightly different, but you get it exactly the same. So I don't really need to go and find one of them to show you that. It's identical. One's just called data, one's just called a relic site. Yeah, so we'll dock up here. So all we need to do is simply click that. Make sure we've got the station we want actually highlighted, and then click the dock button up here, and that will warp us to this station. And there we go, we are now going inside the station. Now, the loot we have on us is not actually worth that much. You don't need to worry too much about people trying to blow you up with only 1 or 2 mil inside your cargo hold. If this was more along the lines of, say, 50 to 100 mil in a little T1 frigate like this, you might run into some trouble with people trying to kill you, even in high security space. So it's always good to drop your loot off from time to time. All we need to do is, my inventory opened up automatically then, so we'll close that. All you need to do is open up your inventory by clicking the box up here. Make sure your ship is selected. It's always the top one, your ship. Highlight everything there by clicking and dragging to make a box, and just drag it into the item hanger, and there you go, your ship is empty, your loot is nice and safe in a station. And that's it, that's exploration. I think it's a brilliant way for new players to get into the game. It gets you used to fitting ships, gets you used to flying around, jumping, hacking, looting, all the good stuff which you need to know as a new player. It's also fairly cheap, easy to get into, and well, if you lose one of these ships because you've accidentally done something a bit silly as a new player, then it's not the end of the world. They're not really that expensive. And I'm sure, even if you don't have the money for one, if you stand around in a trade hub long enough and explain you're a new player, someone somewhere will probably buy you one of these just to get you to stop spamming the chat. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a video, so I'm sorry if I'm a little bit rusty on this one, and I'm also sorry that I got interrupted twice, although you probably only noticed once. I got interrupted twice, which kind of lost my train of thought, but I think we did okay, and I'll be doing more of these videos soon, so go easy on me in the comments, but at the same time, let me know what you thought. So other than that, guys, I will see you soon. And by the way, almost forgot, if you are a new player, don't forget to use the link in the description down below for some extra skill points when you start playing. And also join Disowned Heroes. It's my corporation we run. Really new player friendly. We'll show you the ropes, we'll get you trained up, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, you get to fly around with me and some other guys. It's kind of cool. We're growing, we're getting better. Yeah, either message me in game Disowned Hero or search for Disowned Heroes and get an application in. We'll get you in, we'll get you flying around. Yeah, so other than that, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you right here very soon in another video. Bye bye. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button as well to get some more game guides, how-tos, let's plays and live streams from myself. I also think you should check out this video just up here, but if that one doesn't interest you, then try this one. Other than that, guys, take it easy and I'll see you soon.